man. I'm trying to bring you my
how are we going to do these things? The first how is we want to engage Liberians differently in the transformation of our country. We call this hearts and minds. How do we get all Liberians to participate in the changes that are required? We're going to use arts and music and culture and reconciliation and religion. All of these things, we will be deliberate in using these things to engage us as a people in this transformation process. And so we're doing some work on how we can make those things happen. The next how is that we're going to find the money. We have to find the resources, the money, to do all of the what I mentioned earlier. And the way we'll find the money is, first, we'll go after waste in government. You know, we spend a lot of money on things that we don't need, or we pay too much for things that we do need. So, for example, I believe the vehicles we buy for our government officials, we spend too much money on that. We should reduce the number of vehicles, and we should buy less expensive vehicles for our government officials. We need to reduce how much they make so we can pay teachers and civil servants and police officers and the military officers and healthcare workers, people who actually do the work. We need to pay them more money and reduce the gap between those at the top and those who actually do the work. The other way we'll find the money is going after this thing called corruption. You know, corruption has been the bane of our country. Is the primary reason why we are as underdeveloped as we are today. And we will aggressively go after corruption. The first thing we'll do is we will appoint a corruption czar, a minister in charge of corruption in the presidency that will coordinate all of the agencies that are meant to find corrupt officials. Secondly thing we'll do is we'll make sure we are giving the resources, the money, the right people, the right logistics to the anti-corruption agencies, the LACC, Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, the General Accounting Office, the Public Procurement and Concessions Commission. We will make sure they got the right resources to go after corrupt officials. After that, when we find people who are corrupt, we will prosecute them, we will put them in jail, and we'll seize their assets. It will not be good enough for you just to resign. Okay. So those are the things we will do to really go after corruption. I have committed that I will not take a salary. The salary that is paid the president, I will allocate it towards helping to fight corruption. That's how important I think it is to us. And then the other way we'll find the money is we'll make sure we're getting full value, the full monies we're due from our natural resources. We'll look to exploit other natural resources so we can get the funds required to fund healthcare, to fund infrastructure, to create jobs, etc., etc. So finding the money is the second how. The next how is we want to create a government of inclusion.
So, okay, all right, okay. Uh, Folks, let me say, let me begin by saying good afternoon and welcome to the Face-Up Hour. Welcome to the Face-Up Hour on Borderline Liberia. My name is Joseph Joseph Youngley. My name is Joseph Youngley, and today I'm going to be paying host to a young and energetic young man, a young man from the office of Mr. Cummings, and he going to be here as my as my guest as we discuss some important things that you need to know. So again, my name is Joseph Yonle, and I'd like to say welcome to the show. Welcome to the Face Out Hour. So for today, we're going to be looking at key things. We're going to be looking at key things. So firstly, we're going to be discussing Mr. Alexander Cummings 100 days deliverables if elected president. All of you been following Mr. Cummings, and Mr. Cummings is a man who always, uh, Mr. Cummings is a man who always truthful to what he say. He always straightforward. He don't go about to deviate. Today he said this, tomorrow he say another thing. He always truthful to what he say. So he always stand by it. So we're going to be looking at uh, Mr. Cummings' 100 days deliverables if elected president. Because yes, a lot of you been saying, some of these things Mr. Cummings can be saying is not strange to us for the fact that there are a lot of politicians who been coming saying similar things. So Mr. Cummings coming saying that he would do this, he would do that, he's going to make the economy better, he's going to provide jobs, he's going to bring economic security, he's going to build the infrastructure of our country. In fact, he is going to give back his salary. He is not going to use it. He's not going to take it. He's going to give it to government agency, uh, some autonomous agency, so that they can amend their strength, carry on their function. So a lot of people then concerned, this is a normal political thing. And in fact, the president make a commitment doing his annual address to the legislature. He said that he was going to give back some percentage of his salary. Today we can see it. We can see what the president is giving back. We don't know where that money is going. So a lot of you been concerned. And Mr. Cummings also to come out to say yes. If I'm elected president of Liberia, come October, if I'm elected president of Liberia come October 10th, I'm going to do something quite different from other presidents. I'm going to do something different that will impact the lives of the Liberian people. So basically, he outlined all the things that we're going to be looking at. So for today's discussion, I'm going to be paying host to Jethro Harris. Jethro Harris works in the office of Mr. Cummings, and he also the acting administrative assistant in the office of Mr. Cummings. So we're going to be looking at key things, one having to do with honor Mr. Cummings' 100 days deliverables. We're going to be looking at the paying of civil servants living wage. Mr. Cummings have said this. Or the government is not taking care of civil servants, and we need to pay our civil servants because if we want to end corruption in government, we should firstly pay civil servants living wage. The wage we pay them, they will be able to take care of their rent, they'll be able to pay their rent, they'll be able to send their children to school, they'll be able to get food to feed their family, right? So we're going to deeper into this because he is saying that in his 100 days in office, he's going to make sure that he achieves on it. The second thing Mr. Cummings says is that he's going to provide macro loan to market women. That's the second thing Mr. Cummings said he is going to achieve in his first 100 days in office. So how is he going to provide it? This part of this discussion is going to be very interesting because we're also talking about macro loan for market women. We witnessed what happened to the former central bank governor He gave close to 5 million United States dollars to market women. We don't know. We don't feel the impact in our country. We don't even feel the impact. We want to hear that, oh yes, males don't give this amount to market women. So we're going to deeper into it. How is Mr. Cummings is going to achieve it? How Mr. Cummings is going to achieve this doing his first 100 days in office? Because it is important, mind you, because it's not about just providing funds to market women, but it's about putting set rules and regulations that will guide the process. How are the money going to be dispersed to market women? Is it going to be limited only to Moserado? In fact, who are we going to prioritize in this loan that Mrs. Cummings is going to provide to market women? Is it going to be given to big businesses, or are we going to focus our attention on those small businesses that is in the various community trenches, in the various towns, and then people who sell in the beta ball, other people who get that driver market, so we're going to deeper into it, and we're going to give time for our guest, Jethro Harris, to propound mode on that. And then we also going to that's the third, that's the second. The third one, Mr. Cummings talked about his 100 days in office, his deliverables. He's going to come up with a program, a national youth service program. This national youth service program, according to Mr. Cummings, is going to achieve this during his first 100 days in office by the minimizing the criminal rates in our country, because you understand that everywhere you go, you see Zocos on the street, you see people harassing people here and there, and people are very scared to leave from one place to another. So he's going to come up with a youth program. The youth program, how is Mr. Cummings going to come? What are some of those strategies he's going to use to achieve this youth program? Is he going to prioritize only residents of Moserado, or is he going to decentralize it in the 15 counties? If yes, he's going to decentralize it in the 15 counties. How is he going about to achieve it? What are other rules? What are other plans that he have that will empower him, that will enable him, to achieve this youth development program? Because mind you, the young people, are high portion of our population. So if they accumulate high portion of our population, how are we going to create programs for them that will be part of the governance process? How are they going to get involved into the governance of their own country? So yes, we are going to deeper into the youth program, how Mr. Cummings is going to achieve it during the first 100 days in office. And then we also going to look at, because Mr. Cummings said he's going to clean up the port of Monrovia. How is Mr. Cummings going to clean up the port of Monrovia? We understand that a lot of bureaucracy before you get your container from the port, before you get your stuff from the port. There are a lot of bureaucracy. Sometimes you have to take you 1 to 2 weeks. Sometimes it take you even up to months to get your container from the port. So Mr. Cummings is saying in first 100 days, he makes sure he's going to clean the port of Monrovia. So how is he going to clean the port of Monrovia? There should be some set of rules. There should be some programs, some innovation coming in. So what are those innovations and how he's going to achieve this? We're also going to talk that. We also going to talk about, oh yes, the city of Monrovia is dirty. Yes, we're going to look at the hygienic part of the city of Monrovia. Is it going to be limited only to Monrovia? Because even everywhere in Liberia, these days you pass around with fire taking over the entire country. It's not only limited to Liberia. You go Ganja County, you go Ganta. You understand, you see that the bad garbage is all on the street. So how is Mr. Cummings going to achieve it? Because we have the Monrovia City Corporation, that is responsible to keep the city clean. We have the Painesville City Corporation. What difference is Mr. Cummings is going to make that would make our city very clean and make our city very beautiful? So we're going to look at that also. So again, if you're just joining us, we like to say, okay, let me go and get Jethro Harris. Jethro is already here. Let me go and get Jethro. So let me begin by saying good afternoon, Jethro, and welcome to the Face of Hour on the bottom line. This program it is being aired on YouTube, it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook as well. So I'd like to say welcome to the program, and you have uh, 2 minutes to introduce yourself. Tell the Liberian people, tell our audience who is Jethro, his orientation, and a lot of people want to know you first before we get into our discussion.
Okay, so thank you so much, Joseph, for the invite. I am grateful that you know, started this. And let me say sorry for coming on late. Um, Even though I consented, but I had something to run through very quickly, as I showed you in your inbox. However, I am overwhelmed that the young people are taking this thing personal. They are so passionate about it, and they are the one leading the change. So I'm so much uh, honored to be on your show today. Uh, my name is Jethro S.K. Harris. I am a young man, as you can see, a Liberian who is very passionate about Liberia, about changing the regular way of doing things. With this, I see Mr. Cummings as the only person prepared to lead this change. So it's an honor, to be here. I am a graduate of the Young Political Leadership School Africa, the YPSA. I'm also a fellow of the Youth Election Fellows Program of NAMOT, currently a senior student at UL, and also a scholar in Mr. Cummings' office, member of the ANC Youth Congress, a fighter for social justice. We have been through a lot of we don't need to talk about it. But Joseph, that's who I am.
Okay, I think the viewing audience they know who Jethro is now, and so that's just Jethro there. But again, I like to say welcome to the Face of Hour on the bottom line. It's a pleasure having you. And based on your portfolio, I think you are best suited for this discussion today. So quickly, we've been here for a while now. For today, we will be looking at Mr. Cummings' 100 days deliverables if elected president of Liberia. A lot of young people been listening to interview of Mr. Cummings. A lot of young people been monitoring him when he appear on talk shows. He been very eloquent in his presentation. By the way, he always remains strong to his statement, and Mr. Cummings' message always remains the same. It's not something that he said this today, tomorrow he changed from it. So Mr. Cummings come out to say that he have 100 days deliverables if he's elected president of Liberia, and some of them would jot them down that we'll be discussing. Some of them are one, Mr. Cummings say he's going to make sure that civil servant is going to be paid living wage. He's going to pay civil servant. It's so unfortunate that this government is unable to pay civil servant. And you can get people working, have their children. And in fact, the government say they are serious to combat corruption and you are not paying your civil servant. So Mr. Cummings say he's going to pay them living wage. So in his 100 days, in office, he makes sure that civil servant will be paid. The second thing he talk about, he says he's going to provide macro loan to market women. He makes sure he provide loan. But again, this is not a strange thing, Jethro, because
Okay.
I think you could bear with me. We have Mills June, the former bank governor, who come here and gave $5 million United States dollars as a loan to market women, and today we don't even feel the impact of that money. So, what are other innovations that Mr. Cummings learned from other people who make similar promise, and at the end of the day, he was unable to achieve it? So you're going to tell the audience more about that. And also he talked about youth, the National Youth Service Program. The National Youth Service Program, he said he's going to create this youth service program to limit the Zocos from the street, to rehabilitate them, to provide program for young people so that they can form part of the decision making process, so they can form part of the decision making of the country. And he also talked about he's going to clean the port of Monrovia. How is he going to clean the port of Monrovia? I listened to other talk shows. I listened to other guys who say, oh, yeah, there are a lot of bureaucracy at the port. Before you get your container out there, sometimes you have to take you 2-3 weeks. Your goods is already in country, but before you free it from the port, it's going to take you 2-3 weeks. Sometimes it take you up to months before you get your container. So how is Mr. Cummings going to work? What kind of innovation Mr. Cummings is going to carry at the ports of Monrovia to make sure that we don't have continuums and other commodities that people will ship in the country taking long time at the port. And also he talked about he's going to make sure that Monrovia be clean. He's going to clean the city. So we want to know, because we know that the Monrovia city government is responsible to clean the city of Monrovia. We also know that the things the state corporation have been put in place to help clean garbages from the street. So what's different that this government is not doing, or this city administration is not doing, that Mr. Cummings have noticed and going to work to bring in transformation? So let's begin with his thought about paying civil servant living wage. How is he going to pay civil
Okay.
servant
So
living?
yes. So thank you again, Joseph. So we all know Mr. Cummings, right? He is of a finance background. He's a financial expert. He understands how fiscal policies are implemented. He knows how to balance monies that comes to the country, how it affects the life of people. So it will be no strange if the comment says that upon assuming the presidency, he's going to pay people living wage. Mind you, Mr. Cummings has said that he's going to increase the national budget from what it is to about 1 billion or more. Okay, so let's get to the house, right? We are going to focus as a government on so many things like ecotourism, like creating more jobs, so that the more people are able to earn money, the more they'll be able to pay taxes, the more businesses are able to function well, the more taxes they pay, the more we are able to manage the port, the processes at the port, the more our businesses will be able to pay taxes. So with that, you're going to have more money uh, in the covers to pay people not just on time, but something very, very handsome that will be able to take care of their families and pay their children's school fees. Look, Joseph, one thing we have failed to do as a government, or I mean as a nation, is to manage waste. This government spends way more than what it's supposed to spend. They just lavish money all over. So as a result, few persons are able to take thousands of dollars, while the majority of the people are languishing, just taking small, small peanuts. So upon ascending to power in 2024 after the inauguration, we are going to do a thorough audit, and then we will retrieve all what was stolen. We will retrieve it. You will have more money to pay people. I mean, obviously, we know it's a fact that upon taking over the leadership, we'll have some bottlenecks. There will be some issues, but we have a man who understands financial issues. He understands the economy. So there will be a balance, Joseph. There will be a
Okay,
balance. So
but
so
Judge, someone may say, because looking at Mr. Cummings say he's going to pay civil servant living wage. It's similar thing people hear from President George Weah when he was in the opposition. He made that commitment. In fact, he said that he was going to provide jobs. He was going to create jobs for bulk of the young people. But today, we saw in the first 5 years that the wage bill have increased. There is no foreign investor. So when Mr. Cummings saying he's going to pay civil servant his living wage bill, how is he going to generate the money and where those money going to come from? And do you think you talk about audit? Do you think Mr. Cummings is going to audit the Georgia government, knowing to the fact that the similar thing Georgia said when he will audit the Union Party government, and today
let,
again Mr. Cummings
let,
is saying that he is going to audit the Georgia government. Do you think that will materialize?
let, let, let me begin by your closing question about whether Mr. Cummings will audit the Georgia government. Look, Joseph, if we will not be frank on anything, or if we will not implement anything, the very first thing, because this will prepare us, or this will tell the Liberia people whether Mr. Cummings government will be a serious government. We will start from the very beginning by auditing. Look, it will not be a whistle now, mind you. It will not be after we will not be after going after individuals. No, after the facts, like Mr. Cummings says, anywhere the fact leads us, that's where we'll go. So if there is any discrepancy in a certain ministry or in a certain government area or government function, where the facts lead us, that's where we'll go. So yes, the CPP government will audit any government in the past that squander opportunities or that is squandering opportunities of the Liberian people. So yes, we will audit. Now you ask about how are we going to really make this possible about creating jobs. Look, we'll not be unrealistic here. Let us be frank. Let us be clear. The CC government making a power, making all sort of promises that even in a layman's sense, it is not possible. She said they want to do about 200,000 jobs in a year. I mean, it's not possible. These guys lack the ability to even lobby. Since the inception of this government, there have been no serious concession or investors here. So all they do is they depend on the government job. They depend on the government to provide jobs for people, and it's not possible. Government have just little over 2,000 plus job opportunities. So how will you employ over 5 million persons, with the mindset of government job? So we are going to prioritize the private sector. Joseph, we look, Mr. Cummings is very, very attractive. You know that. He has friends, he has colleagues who are
Judge,
multi-billionaires.
you saying you're going to look at prioritize the private sector, but looking at the private sector, there is no infrastructure. All I'm saying, no infrastructure development. Infrastructure is poor in our country. There's no stable electricity. How investors are going to be encouraged to come in this country under Mr. Cummings administration?
Joseph, when we talk about bringing in investors, we are taking all these things into consideration.
Okay.
The primary an investor will now want to come to a particular area to invest. Security, yes, you talk about electricity, but security is very, very important, and that's one thing we are going to strengthen. We are going to strengthen the security of Liberia so that when investors come to Liberia, they are going to be secure. They will not be worrying over whether they need to go to see the Minister of Presidential Affairs to give 2 million, like what we saw during this government. Guys, that's one thing that scares people away. But Mr. Cummings is very, very attractive. He knows how to lobby and he's able to generate resources. So he will be out there advocating on behalf of the Liberian people to his fellow
Hello, Jedro. Are you there? Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry, we lost Jedro. We lost Jedro right there. We lost Jedro. But folks, if you are just joining, I would like to say welcome. Uh, this is the face of our on bottom line. If you are just joining, I would like to say welcome. Today, we paying host to a young man, Jethro Harris, who works in the office of Mr. Cummings. He is a member of the Indomitable National Youth Congress of ANC. And to listen to him, we have other things here we're going to be discussing in depth. And you just listen to him chipping his own view when Mr. Cummings talk about he's going to pay civil servant a living. So we just hope to reconnect with Jethro Harris, but it's kind of very important, folks. It's kind of important that we discuss these things because you know a lot of time people been calling, oh no, Mr. Kumi say he going to pay civil servant. It's no different from what the Georgia government has said, the promise the Georgia government has made to us. The Georgia government promised us that, oh yes, they were going to provide 200,000 jobs. At the end of the day, the president has gone 5 years now, almost 6 years. There's no direct foreign investment in our country. There is no investment going on in our country. So there's no foreign investment going on in our country. You know. So Judge, welcome back. Welcome back. I know the network is giving problem, but that also is there for the improvement there. But let us move to the next discussion point. Mr. Cummings talk about provide macro loan to market women. How is Mr. Cummings going to provide this loan? Because this is not the first time the Liberian people hear it. I just told you earlier on that Neil June came up to give, uh, you know, uh, 5 million United States dollars, and to market women for loan as a loan. So from that money today, we can see any testimony, and we haven't come across any testimony to say, oh yes, I was selling beta ball, I was in the okay, we lost church. So the next thing, Mr. Cummings, he said, if I'm elected president of the Republic of Liberia, trust me, I'm going to provide macro loan to the market women. I'm going to prioritize Liberian own businesses. Yes, the president has said similar thing. We talk about the loan aspect. Yes, Mayor June had did similar thing. He gave 5 million United States dollars to market women. So we cannot point to any testimony. We cannot see anything from that loan that was given by the former central bank governor. So now, how is Mr. Cummings going to achieve this? His first 100 days in office. How is he going to achieve it? What are some innovation? What are some innovation that Mr. Cummings come up with to say, yes, I'm going to provide this loan, but this is how this loan is going. Because it's politicians just come up to say, I'm going to do this. But the innovation part of it, they always leaving it out. So I want Jethro to opine on that too, because it's important that we know. It is important that the Liberian people know, not to only know that, oh yes, Mr. Cummings is going to, because Mr. Cummings can keep doing the same thing and expect different results. We can keep doing the same thing over and over and again and expect different results. So if we can keep doing the same thing and expect different results, yes, we saw Mil June giving 5 million United States dollars as loan for Liberian owned businesses. So Mr. Cummings said he wants to provide macro loans to market women who prioritize our Liberian owned businesses. How is he going to achieve it? What different this agenda of Mr. Cummings is going to bring in the landscape of Liberian markets. What's the difference? Or is it going to be the same normal tradition we just gave maybe 5 million, 6 million, or 7 million? Say, oh yes, this is for the Liberian Marketing Association. You go, the big shot, the same government official follow the money and take their own share and give it to those who they know, give it to their family members. What different we're going to see from this, from Mr. Cummings and that of the CPP? We want to know. It is important that the Liberian people know. So let me try to connect Jeju. So it is important, fellow Liberians. It is important that we know, because mind you, this turning into a tradition. It has turned into a tradition, right? Governor will say, yes, we're going to provide loan, and then as soon as the president make that pronouncement and instruct the finance minister to give that money, you will get the finance minister placing his relatives, his friends, girlfriends, names on that listing. They will include that name on the list, and later on and say, oh, yeah, the president had committed himself to give 5 million, 7 million, 8 million to buttress the effort of Liberian market women, to empower them, to expand their business. So it is important. It is important. It is important that we have these kind of conversations. It is important that we listen to them. It is important. Mr. Cummings said we can keep doing the same thing and expect different results. We can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. So since we can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results, we need to know when you come up to say, I'm going to provide micro loan for market women, for our own businesses, because we need there's a need that we have some expansion in our own businesses. So how can we achieve it? How can we achieve it, and how are we going to achieve it? It's important. It is important that we have this kind of conversation. It is important that we have this kind of conversation. But folks, let's take this break. Let's take this break. We're going to be back. We're going to be back.
There are 5 priorities we have, and we call that the what's. And then there are 5 things we call the how we'll do it. And those priorities are as follows. Our first priority is infrastructure. Simply put, it's electricity, it's roads, it's water, and it's internet and cell phone connectivity across Liberia. We have to invest in infrastructure. That is the top priority. That's the basis on which we can and will do everything else. The second priority for us is job creation. There are too many unemployed, underemployed, and unemployable Liberians. The unemployment rate is over 85%. And therefore, job creation is our next priority, creating jobs for the Liberian people. So after job creation, our next priority is agriculture. We are a country, after 170 years, that do not fear ourselves. Last year alone, we imported over 160 million United States dollars in rice import, and total food imports was over $280 million. These are things we can do for ourselves. We should be producing rice to feed ourselves, and my commitment is that by the end of my first term in office, we will be self-sufficient in rice production. And within education, we're focused on vocational training, teachers training, and adult education. But we have to educate our young people because, again, that's how we can help them create jobs. That's how we can train farmers. And so these things are all linked together. And our final priority in terms of the what's is health. Because you can have good infrastructure, you can have a good job, you can feed yourself, you can have great education, but if you don't have your health, it doesn't matter. And so health is our fifth priority, and there we're focused on primary health care and preventive health care. So those are the what's we'll do for our people, for the Liberian people. How are we going to do these things? The first how is we want to engage Liberians differently in the transformation of our country. We call this hearts and minds. How do we get all Liberians to participate in the changes that are required? We're going to use arts and music and culture and reconciliation and religion. All of these things, we will be deliberate in using these things to engage us as a people in this transformation process. And so we're doing some work on how we can make those things happen. The next how is that we're going to find the money. We have to find the resources, the money, to do all of the what's I mentioned earlier. And the way we'll find the money is first we'll go after waste in government. You know, we spend a lot of money on things that we don't need, or we pay too much for things that we do need. So for example, I believe the vehicles we buy for our government officials, we spend too much money on that. We should reduce the number of vehicles, and we should buy less expensive vehicles for our government officials. We need to reduce how much they make so we can pay teachers and civil servants and police officers and the military officers and healthcare workers, people who actually do the work. We need to pay them more money and reduce the gap between those at the top and those who actually do the work. The other way we'll find the money is going after this thing called corruption. You know, corruption has been the bane of our country. Is the primary reason why we are as underdeveloped as we are today. And we will aggressively go after corruption. The first thing we'll do is we will appoint a corruption czar, a minister in charge of corruption in the presidency that will coordinate all of the agencies that are meant to find corrupt officials. Secondly thing we'll do is we'll make sure we are giving the resources, the money, the right people, the right.
So welcome folks, welcome from that break. If you're just joining us, we'd like to say you are welcome. You would like to say welcome to the program, The Face of Hour. The Face of Hour is a 1 hour, 30-minute live program. It's an online talk show that brings you in-depth information about the FACER team, and we bring you some officials from the FACER team and that of the CPP, and to propound, to speak to you about the agenda of Cummings, how Mr. Cummings vision Liberia, how Mr. Cummings is going to rebuild Liberia, how Mr. Cummings is going to make the economy a decent one, how Mr. Cummings is going to build the infrastructure of our country. On FACER Hour, we give more information about Mr. Cummings' vision, and we speak to officials of Team Cummings and that of from the FACER team. So I'd like to say welcome. We hope that Judge will rejoin us. But let us look at something important here. Very, very much important. It's very, very much important. You know, sometimes, fellow Liberians, let me say this. Let me say this. The decision we are about to make is very important. It speaks to the fact whether we're going to have some transformation in our governance space or our country going to move backward. Because you can see it. Corruption has killed the fabric of the society. Every sector of our country, every sector of our governance, every sector in our country. Social corruption. Until our ally were left with no alternative, or rather to place sanction on some tall key government officials. So let's go here. We get Judge back. Get him. So Judge, welcome. It was so good. We were on a musical break. So welcome, my brother.
Yes.
So let's move to the next item here on our discussion list. Mr. Cummings said he's going to provide micro loans to market women. And I'm so concerned about what different is Mr. Cummings going to do in terms of providing loan and to help expand Liberian-owned businesses. Because there's a whole thing, it's a normal tradition. Sometimes the president come out and make the pronouncement and even instruct the finance minister, hey, give the Liberian-owned businesses this amount of money. And you find out that the same government official will place people's names on that list. At the end of the day, you don't see no transformation in this sector. So how is Mr. Cummings going to achieve giving out this loan, and how are you going to achieve it?
Okay, so yeah, it's good that I'm back again. Sorry that my internet was giving some little tough time, but you and I know, Joseph, that Mr. Cummings, from the business background, has a lot of passion for business people. By the way, his mother herself was market woman. She sold, she had business, and that was where he took his business orientation from. So when he talked about, prioritizing the market women, business people by giving, money, putting special money in the budget for, their business to grow. I mean, he's dead serious about it. In Zambia, um, a specific portion of the budget is given to women and young people that up-rousing businesses, young entrepreneurs can go there, borrow money or loan money out, they grow the business and then they pay back. So there's a similar thing that Mr. Cummings is going to do here. One thing that we have accepted in Liberia as citizens is because, I mean, it has never happened, so we believe that it can never happen. But these things are applicable in other countries. It can work. It is working there. People are using it. But because our past leaders have failed to do these things, so you and I now we believe that it can never happen. But no, it can happen when you have serious leaders who are concerned about the people. So if Mr. Cummings says that there will be finances or special money in the budget for this purpose, so that our young people, our mothers who are in the market, can take their businesses from water market to shops, from shop to stores, from stores to mega businesses. Look, it is possible. It is workable. There are people in this country who have even strived on their own. Using $5 today to $10 from 10 to 20 from 20 today, they are big business owners. So if a government comes to power and say we will put this amount, 20 million, 25 million, 50 million in the budget for this purpose, look, Joseph, it is possible. It is possible. So
I'm a bit concerned. Judge, then I'm a bit concerned. I say I'm a bit concerned when you come out to talk about the legislation. You gave reference to Zimbabwe or where, but you look at Liberia as a different case. You see that the president have good intention, send it to the legislature, and the legislature they have to vote. They have to vote to accept that.
Joseph,
so do you think
no legislator?
Do you think Mr. Cummings legislature to enact this legislation?
Joseph,
Mm, mm.
I don't believe that any legislator will oppose such a beautiful bill or whatever, how we call it, project or whatever it is. Anyone does that, then the librarian will know that that person is not just an evil person, but that person is a replica of Satan. Look, Joseph,
Mm.
anyone who will oppose that bill, in fact, the librarian themselves will be the one to carry it to the horse so that their lawmakers can pass it into law. I mean, it makes no sense.
So
You know,
that is just one aspect of it. That is just one aspect of it. By sending a bill to the legislature to enact a law, and to capture library-owned businesses, to empower our mothers who are struggling, at least to improve their business and to have something for themselves and to empower their children. But then that's just one aspect of it, because we are witness during the early administration. During the early administration, our Eddie come up with this plan by saying, let us give legislative engagement form that we include something in the budget called legislative engagement. So that legislative engagement, the president just, the legislature just added, put it in the budget. It captured in the budget, the money go there, but there is no supervision. The government doesn't care again to go after how that money is used. So is Mr. Cummings again going to go after, not only to lobby with the legislature to capture Liberian own businesses in the budget, or is he going to work along with relevant authority who will be close with the responsibility to disperse this fund throughout Liberia, and who are those that are going to benefit from it?
Just tell people is I don't see why things are difficult when we don't follow the processes that are laid out to achieve a certain goal. Okay, things becomes difficult when we try to deviate from following the way that we all agree. So, according to the laws of Liberia, what whatever ways that is designed in the law that monies appropriated for a certain purpose can be gotten and used, and the results are given back. That's what we'll follow. Joseph, if there will be 20 million in the budget for business women to go and take loan, the process that are enshrined in the law will be followed. The only thing we'll do is there will be a very strong monitoring and
Okay.
evaluation team that will be there to regulate the process, to see how it goes, so that it can benefit our people. Okay, so that it can benefit our people. So there'll be a very strong monitoring and evaluation team. Today you have government agencies, you have government agencies and government ministries that are just giving money without even giving report, progress report, and I mean, and you have the government doing nothing about it. So we'll have a very strong monitoring and evaluation team that will go after every cent that will be given in these areas. Hello. Joseph, I had to relocate. Sorry. Internet.
So let me get Jojo back. So let me get Jojo back. Let me get Jojo. Uh, let me get him. I'm trying to get Jojo. So yes, folks, and I'm trying to get Jojo Harris. Let me try to get Jojo Harris. Jojo, when following, just cancel that link, and you not to cancel, but you can get out, sign out, and come back on. Okay. I go back here. I go back. I go back. So let's take this break quickly. Let's take this break. We're going to be back. Let's take this break. We're going to be back. We're going to be back. We're going to be back. We're going to be back here.
There are 5 priorities we have, and we call that the what's. And then there are 5 things we call the how we'll do it. And those priorities are as follows. Our first priority is infrastructure. Simply put, it's electricity, it's roads, it's water, and it's internet and cell phone connectivity across Liberia. We have to invest in infrastructure. That is the top priority. That's the basis on which we can and will do everything else. The second priority for us is job creation. There are too many unemployed, underemployed, and unemployable Liberians. The unemployment rate is over 85%. And therefore, job creation is our next priority, creating jobs for the Liberian people. So after job creation, our next priority is agriculture. We are a country, after 170 years, that do not feed ourselves. Last year alone, we imported over 160 million United States dollars in rice import, and total food imports was over $280 million. These are things we can do for ourselves. We should be producing rice to feed ourselves, and my commitment is that by the end of my first term in office, we will be self-sufficient in rice production. And within education, we're focused on vocational training, teachers training, and adult education. But we have to educate our young people because, again, that's how we can help them create jobs. That's how we can train farmers. And so these things are all linked together. And our final priority in terms of the what's is health. Because you can have good infrastructure, you can have a good job, you can feed yourself, you can have great education, but if you don't have your health, it doesn't matter. And so health is our 5th priority, and there we're focused on primary health care and preventive health care. So those are the what's we'll do for our people. for the Liberian people. How are we going to do these things? The first how is we want to engage Liberians differently in the transformation of our country. We call this hearts and minds. How do we get all Liberians to participate in the changes that are required? We're going to use arts and music and culture and reconciliation and religion. All of these things, we will be deliberate in using these things to engage us as a people in this transformation process. And so we're doing some work on how we can make those things happen. The next how is that we're going to find the money. We have to find the resources, the money, to do all of the what's I mentioned earlier. And the way we'll find the money is, first, we'll go after waste in government. You know, we spend a lot of money on things that we don't need, or we pay too much for things that we do need. So, for example, I believe the vehicles we buy for our government officials, we spend too much money on that. We should reduce the number of vehicles, and we should buy less expensive vehicles for our government officials. We need to reduce how much they make so we can pay teachers and civil servants and police officers and the military officers and healthcare workers, people who actually do the work. We need to pay them more money and reduce the gap between those at the top and those who actually do the work. The other way we'll find the money is going after this thing called corruption. You know, corruption has been the bane of our country. Is the primary reason why we are as underdeveloped as we are today. And we will aggressively go after corruption. The first thing we'll do is we will appoint a corruption czar, a minister in charge of corruption in the presidency that will coordinate all of the agencies that are meant to find corrupt officials. Secondly thing we'll do is we'll make sure we are giving the resources, the money, the right people, the right logistics to the anti-corruption agencies, the LACC, Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, the General Accounting Office, the Public Procurement and Concessions Commission. We will make sure they got the right resources to go after corrupt officials. After that, when we find people who are corrupt, we will prosecute them, we will put them in jail, and we'll seize the assets. It will not be good enough for you just to resign. So those are the things we will do to really go after corruption. I have committed that I will not take a salary. The salary that is paid the president, I will allocate it towards helping to fight corruption. That's how important I think it is to us. And then the other way we'll find the money is we'll make sure we're getting full value, the full monies we're due from our natural resources. We'll look to exploit other natural resources so we can get the funds required to fund healthcare, to fund infrastructure, to create jobs, etc., etc. So finding the money is the second how. The next how is we want to create a government of inclusion. We want all sections of our country to be represented in the government. We want opposition political parties to be in government. Because we believe that having a government inclusion will help all of us make the right decisions. It will make sure that we're spreading the resources of our country across the entire country. And then the last two hows, one is growing the private sector. We will focus on growing the private sector so Liberians can primarily benefit from that growth. No longer should Liberian business people be spectators to our economy. And we want to actively support Liberianization and encourage and provide credit and other facilities to Liberian businesses so they can participate. And last but not least, we will use technology. We'll leverage technology to help us achieve our goals. So those are the what's and the how's. But let me end by leaving you again with these two universal truths. One is we cannot keep doing the same things, my people, and expect different results. We cannot keep electing the same people with the same experiences and expect Liberia to change. We need to elect and select different people to lead us, to serve us, to help us manage and run our country. And the other universal truth is the best predictor of future performance and future behavior is past performance and past behavior. And on those two counts, I believe I stand head and shoulders above the other candidates aspiring to lead our country.
So welcome back. Welcome back from that entertaining break. And if you just joined, I would like to say welcome. Welcome to the Face of Hour on the Bottom Line. We are on YouTube. You can follow us on YouTube, the Bottom Line Liberia. You can also follow us on Instagram, Bottom Line Liberia. You can follow us on Facebook, Bottom Line. And we here. You earlier on you listened to Jojo Harris. I think the internet is kind of fluctuating, so we hope to get him back so we can wrap up. But you listen. We provide some of how Mr. Cummings is going to achieve his first 100 days deliverables. We talk about the paying Silver 7 living wage. We also talk about the macro loan. Mr. Cummings said he's going to provide loans for Liberian-owned businesses, and we talk about that. We also now going to look at the National Youth Service Program that Mr. Cummings talked about. The National Youth Service Programs is a program that Mr. Cummings is serious about. He want to achieve that actually in his 100 days deliverables, because every time he go out in the very committee, go engage. The last time he was like in a Dupont Road, he was in District 4, he was in Patrick Factory, and this kind of public alarm on the high increase of the criminal rates, and majority of these people are all young people. Now check the drugs addiction. There are a lot of young people taking into substance. So how is Mr. Cummings going to achieve his youth program? You first talk about rehabilitating those we call Zocos. And they are veteran youth, actually. I don't like to call them Zocos. I like to call them veteran youths. The veteran youth, how are we going to get them? Mr. Cummings said we got to rehabilitate them. And how this can be achieved is by what? Creating TVEX opportunity. You have the NVT out there. The NVT, before you go, they say it's a public school, right? You don't pay. But before you didn't buy your materials and things, you already gone close to, you already go to our private tuition. So Mr. Cummings says we need to rehabilitate them for the youth, the National Youth Service Program. We are going to focus our attention on rehabilitating those we call Zocos, being rehabilitation camp, sending them there, giving them TVET education. We will transform them. Those Zocos needs to be transformed. These guys can be electrician. These guys can do electricity and become electrician. These guys can do plumbing. They can be professional plumbers. Because we want to build the infrastructure of our country. So we gotta look at the young people. We gotta prioritize them. They are not certified, or it's not about a waiting mind to work to go to take in these jobs. But it's because some of them they are there because of peer pressure. Some of them are there because there's nothing to do and they follow their friends, and that's how they get themselves there. So we are not going to turn down on them. We are going to include them. How are we going to include them and put them back in society to be useful? We are going to create a TVEX program where we carry them to the rehabilitation site. We have a lot of sites around the country, build them, and they can go. We can rehabilitate them by making them, turning them into electrician, plumber, give them different trade. Go and they come back to be all productive citizens. They can come back and contribute to the country. He also going to prioritize scholarship. There are a lot of young people today. They graduate from school. There's nothing going. There's no financial aid program to say yes. No, we can rely on this one to obtain our first degree, and at least we start a little work to get our second degree. So Mr. Cummings is going to provide scholarship. He's going to provide scholarship for young people to go back to school, to focus on building themselves. So they should be the next leaders of our country. So the National Youth Service Program is going to be very active. And Mr. Cummings' first 100 days in office, there are going to be a lot of programs for young people. Those victim youth, we're going to focus on them, rehabilitating them so that they can be a useful citizens in society. And Mr. Cummings talked about the last thing before, because we don't have luxury of time. Let quickly go, but we're going to bring back Jethro here next time, or we're going to bring in someone who from the FACER team actually, and to prepare mode on these teams. So we're going to bring someone to prepare mode on them. But Mr. Cummings also talked about cleaning the port of Monrovia. There are a lot of bureaucracy. We can be serious in this country. Sometimes if I say this thing, some of my friends from the CDC and from the Unity Party, they can be mad at me. But why you should get mad? The too many bureaucracy we have at the port of Monrovia causing serious problems. Sometimes we have some scarcity of commodities on our market. It's not because those importers are not bringing in those commodities. But the kind of bureaucracy you need to follow before getting your concession from that port is too much. There are a lot of things. Can you imagine for someone to free? The last time, one friend of mine, shipped his car. It took us 2 months to get the car from that port. So there are a lot of bureaucracy. So we make things too complicated for our people. We make things too complicated. So even if it costs us to even have three or two departments actively, some of these things we don't need to get separate office for these things. But you have 2 active departments at the port there, 3, just 3 active departments. So continue. You don't need to visit 2 departments, 2 or 3. The 3 went okay. You get your stuff out of the port. But we make things complicated. We make things look so difficult for our people. Only because we want to get small things. Only because we want to compromise the system. So Mr. Cummings is saying that no, under my administration, there's too much bureaucracy that before you get your concession from the port, you have to go to their own office, come from this other office, go to technical area, come from this technical area, go to this other director office, come out there. No, we're just going to settle these things into 2 or 3 departments. It will be embedded. So if you go into this other, you got to go to 1, 2, 3, 4 office. We take the 4 off. We take the 4 office, we blank it on 1. We go this and we will blank it on 1. Just 2. You go to this department, leave the other area, go down there. You get your concession out of the port. There's no need you bring in your cruising country. You start passing from one place to another, make things so difficult for our people to get things moving, and that's it will cause it will limit the scarcities of some of these commodities that have been caused just by too much bureaucracy at the port of Monrovia. Just by formulating this kind of crafting the kind of great plan, vision for the port of Monrovia, it's going to cause it's going to limit the scarcity of other things. The overcrowdedness at the port. You go to the port, it's too overcrowded. No. Why would you make things difficult for our people? Why? The last time one business, one of my friend, my business friend, I was like lecturer. So can you imagine? I brought you my concession. It has stayed 1 month now to the port, and my customer, my client, are just calling me. Some of them from the southeast, some of them far from Monrovia. They're calling me. Some of them have already come to town because I told them that the thing was my concession was going to be in country. So do you know the kind of the kind of inconvenience it caused for your citizens? Too many bureaucracy at the port. So Mr. Cummings said, no, we are going to clean out that port. Not going to say you can follow too much bureaucracy because we need those working there need small firms, they want to generate small money. No, that's why we are going to pay you. No too much bureaucracy, don't complicate things for my people. As things come at the port, let's get it out, let's get it out, let's get it out. So we won't have the kind of scarcity of other small things around this country. Yes, Mr. Cummings talk about also he 100 days in office, first 100 days in office, he makes sure that we're going to have clean city, hygiene, the part of this thing. It's so important, fellow Liberians. It's so important. Hygiene part of it is so important. And the FASA team is very, very committed. And one thing is that, Mr. Cummings is a man who is straightforward. If Mr. Cummings is not going to do it, he will not include it. As long as Mr. Cummings is saying that, yes. Because the problem there is that Mr. Cummings have traveled. Mr. Cummings was blessed to travel to a lot of great countries. He went to America, he went to England, Great Britain, he went to Germany, Canada, all kind of countries. So he know how it takes, he saw the streets, how people's streets have been beautifully laid out. He know how it takes to live in a hygienic society. He know how it takes to live in a beautiful city and take in clean air, not air that is being polluted by some feces all around it. So Mr. Cummings is saying that yes, we are going to have a clean city. The clean city is not because because me, I like to be practical here, because it's an innovation Mr. Cummings is going to use to have our city clean. Mr. Cummings is not going to say, oh no, I'm going to suspend or I'm going to do away with the River City Corporation. No. The Modern City Corporation is autonomous. It's an agency, government agency that is responsible to keep the city clean. Right? It's an agency. A Peace-based city corporation. So what Mr. Cummings is going to do to keep our city clean is that, he's going to formulate new ideas, he's going to bring people who have the experience. It's not to be keeping garbages, to keep garbage in the street for almost 1 month, 6 months. We have a lot of public dump sites in this country. So what Mr. Cummings is going to do different is that he's going to make sure that he sit with the city government. Ask them. So some of the reason why today you see that our city government is so lackadaisical and they don't care about the ordinance of our city, it's because we don't have president who is sitting with the city government to even ask them what they're playing to keep the city clean. Even though the president live in the city and coming to work in the morning, passed by drainage and by garbage on the road filled with blood and things, he's so reluctant about it. But no, the Cummings administration, right? The Cummings administration is going to sit with the city government. Hey, why the cost? Let me see your plan. Let me see the chain, your working chain that you're using to keep our city clean. We're going to have a lot of trees, live trees being planted in the city. We're going to make sure that those businesses operating in the country, in the city, should have garbage at that business site. And they should be registered with the city government. That yes, whenever this garbage is filled, they are going to call the city government, and the city government will be effective because there will be a lot of resources given to them. And the resources will not be left alone. They'll just give it, make that allotment and say, oh yeah, we give this to the city government, and let the city government go and clean the city, and we'll just be reluctant about it. No. We're going to make sure that those basic things the city government needs to keep the city clean be active, be in living condition, having to do with the dump trucks. Those trucks. Because the reason why you see garbages filled the area around here it's only because the city government doesn't have active trucks, equipments to remove bags, garbages from one end to another. Then the last time someone was telling me that something, can you imagine? They said the government is going lobbying, begging for gasoline, for fuel oil before they go and take the dirt. You just see water and sewer. Water and sewer, you go see the plumbing pipes just burst in the street, go water side the place, polluted. No, under the Cummings administration, this thing is going to be regulated. Water and sewer are going to be very active. We're going to bring in trained and experienced and qualified engineers, plumbers, who are going to do the work. They're going to come run probably 1 day, 2 days, you go see, then the feces start coming outside, the whole street polluted. People wearing nose masks to move to pass from one point to another. No, that would not be done under the Cummings administration. The Cummings and Bronski administration going to make sure they are going to sit with the city government, audience, going to sit with the city government, going to discuss issues, how they can keep the city being very clean, keep the city very decent. Those garbages, how those garbages will be removed with ease. Because if you have a president who is concerned about these things, then you find out that those who are working to implement these things, you will see them in the readiness, you will see them very active doing the job. But if you have one president who doesn't care, who only cared about one day, going on the field to go and play football, going and practice, who don't even say what the government action, but why today we see, in fact, if you want to tell me that the president doesn't see those garbages in the street, yeah, the president is seeing it, but he doesn't have interest in that. He don't find interest in that. So, since he don't find interest in that, the Cummings administration is going to focus there, going to sit with the city government and know what the problems are. If the city government outline those problems, the government is going to look into it. With the kind of experience Mr. Cummings have, kind of experience the vast bearer Charlene Bronski have, it's going to help the city audience. It's going to formulate laws. She is a legal practitioner or counselor. So she now, as a vice president, is going to sit with the city government and say, no, these are rules and regulations. And this is how other cities survive. And today, Singapore, very clean, one of the best cities to live in. So the city government, we are lucky. You see why the federal team is so lucky? You see how Mr. Cummings is so lucky to have Charlene Bronski, a professional. She's going to guide the city government, how to formulate laws. That yes, the city, we gotta keep the city. We gotta stop punishing people. Because the government is so weak. The city government is so reluctant. So you get citizens out, they themselves, I don't care. But since we privileged now to have a legal counselor who is going to be setting aside Mr. Cummings as president, she's going to advise the city government how to formulate laws, those laws that will help keep our city clean, and how the city government is going to implement it. So yes, Councillor Bronski will sit with the city government, and then they will discuss ordinance, they will discuss laws, they will discuss rules, how to keep our city clean. We gotta stop punishing people. We gotta stop punishing people. We got some people, some businesses who create dirt, but doesn't have trash cans at the very business side. They are not even connected to any institutions that are doing waste management. So if we start to follow these people and start to punish people, those who sell kobo, after the government, we enact the legislation and empower the city government, and say, yes, this is these are other resources and materials you should use to remove garbages and things, and give those garbages to other small people, business people who doesn't have hand to procure these things. Go and carry to that area and make sure there is a vehicle, have an active line where this person business center, they have a garbage place there. That is filled the garbage. We just have to call the city government and we send people there and go. So if we start to, when we set these things up, and then we found out that, hey, those who selling the kobo and things, they are those who sell kobo too having the data. They say, oh, let me say this: those who selling kobo, fellow Liberians, they are helping to dirty the city. They are helping to dirty the city. And how are they helping to dirty? These people wake up early in the morning to cook the fish, the dirt, the greens, all the kind of thing. They will go and dodge it on the road in the morning, early in the morning. And those who will be resident of that area will even go to them and say, stop. Like it's like a scenario. I thought one story from the red light and on the Japan freeway. Right in that lake drainage they create, in the middle of the road. That lake gutter, they put in the middle of the road there. If you go there, you see those who selling the food, the kobo, they will kind of chunk the garbage there. They will teach the garbage there. And people know them, but the city government not care about that. So there will be all regulations, there will be all rules formulated that will guard the city government, that those people who will be caught doing these things will be punished. So if we start to punish people, because we will set all those rules, all those benefits, all those better things that the city government need to take garbage from one point to another, we will provide. So if we provide it now and we give you the side where you're supposed to carry your garbage, and you refuse and say, okay, I'm going to teach you on the road early in the morning, and the city government get information on that. If we observe and we investigate it, and it is proven that yes, you are the one who taking the garbage, teaching it on the road, you are going to be punished and you will be fined. So if we start to do these things, we understand that we have a clean city, very beautiful city. How big is Monrovia? How big is Pinky? How big is Monrovia? See other cities in the United States. See other cities around. See Kenya. See Nairobi. See Johannesburg, South Africa. Those people maintain their city. In fact, every time our mayor boasts of having connection with other mayors around the country, the African continent, boasts of having strong connection. But you go to these cities and see how the people say they are beautifully laid out. Come back to Monrovia, garbage, to remove garbage from the street is very difficult. But the Cummings administration, we are going to make sure we will formulate legislation, we will bring in certain laws, and we will support the city government and those who will fall in the act of violating. Those will be found in the act of violating. You will be penalized. That's for sure. You will be punished. So at this end, it's already 3:30, 3:31. This is how, and folks, we would like to come to our end of this program. This is how we like to come to our end of this program. So we're going to be back on Friday. Friday we're going to be on again discussing other issues relating the vision of the FASA team. We're going to discuss the vision of Mr. Cummings and Councillor Charlie Bronsky, how they intend to improve Liberia, how they intend to transform Liberia, and how they are going to achieve it. These things are very important. So we're going to discuss them bit by bit. So we're going to bring in a guest who will come and join us, discuss these things. My name is Joseph Vionley. I'd like to say thank you for watching us, and you can follow us on bottom line on YouTube. You can follow us on YouTube, the Bottom Line Liberia. We are there. This program is being live on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, Bottom Line Liberia. And thank you. It's been a pleasure having all of you watching. And thank you. Earlier on, you listened to Jethro Harris. Jethro Harris, he also chipped in, gave his own view about how Mr. Cummings intends to deliver on his 100 days deliverables. So thank you. It was nice being here today, and I hope you all have a joyful and joyous day. Thank you. Thank you.
AK on the beat.